Wow, 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 ladies and gentlemen. Sampson Lewkowicz finally getting a little taste of what he deserves. Rick Mirigian, the manager of Vergil Ortiz, was trashed by Sampson Lewkowicz, the manager of Sebastian Fundora. The man absolutely disrespected Rick Mirigian, basically calling him a shitty manager, calling him a greedy man. Completely taking Vergil Ortiz out of the equation when it comes to a fight with Sebastian Fundora. Sampson Lewkowicz, the same man that turned down Jerome Boots Ennis as soon as Jerome Boots Ennis became the unified WBO, WBA junior middleweight champion. The dude was pursuing a fight with Jerome Boots Ennis, and what does Sampson Lewkowicz do? What does he do? Force Sebastian Fundora to face his non-forced, mandatory Inerma Hajibaj, which is a goddamn crime itself within the WBC when you got a WBC interim champion in Vergil Ortiz. And this dude is the supposed mandatory and getting the shot before Vergil Hajibaj, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, Sampson Lewkowicz, the same man that made Sebastian Fundora vacate his WBO title when he was mandated to face Xander Zayas. The same guy that made Fundora vacate that bout and look like a punk. He finally stood up to Sampson Lewkowicz in his most recent interview discussing the Jerome Boots Ennis fight, discussing the Ermal Hajibaj fight, and said, hey, it made us look like pussies, I'm not gonna lie. And it's because Sebastian Fundora understands that there's these huge unification fights out there. There's a manager, Jerome Boots Ennis, that wants to fight. There was a manager, Vergil Ortiz, who would like to fight you, but your manager keeps on steering you off the way. I hope things change, and it seems like Sebastian Fundora's mentality, what he's saying, is starting to change a little bit, because now that PBC is signed with the Zone wants the biggest, best fights. PBC comes to the Zone with a resume of fighters. They show them, look, we got this guy, we got this guy, we got this guy. We're going to put this guy with this guy. We're going to put this fight with this fight, possibility fights, which gives them leverage and gives the Zone a reason to actually want to sign these dudes, ladies and gentlemen. So hopefully these fights can start happening now. But as you can tell, it's Sebastian Fundora having to go against his manager and Sampson Lewkowicz. Now, Rick Mirigian got absolutely attacked by Sampson Lewkowicz. Sampson Lewkowicz called the man a greedy manager. Basically implied that the man is a shitty manager. Said, why are we even talking about those guys right now? Why are we even talking about Vergil Ortiz? The man is going to be stripped of his WBC interim title. Y'all don't remember that, ladies and gentlemen? Well, here it is.
Sampson, how realistic is that fight to be done this year?
I don't believe it will happen because the boxing world have a problem at this moment. And the worst thing sometimes is when management commit a mistake and doesn't recognize it. And when he recognizes it, it's too late. You know, Oscar de la Hoya, besides that to be my friend and part of my family, he treated that kid very well all his career. But sometimes management, he get greedy, and now he pay the price. Why wish I talk about Ortiz in this moment that probably he will not fight for the next year or so. And he will get stripped very soon of the WBC interim. So let's talk about somebody else. Tell me which one you want. And then I can tell you this is possible or not. But Ortiz is out of the game at this moment.
Y'all remember that, ladies and gentlemen? The energy that he had towards Vergil Ortiz and Sampson Lewkowicz. Hey, wow. Rick Mirigian just this morning has decided to respond to everything that Sampson Lewkowicz has been saying when it comes to this whole situation. He puts in quotations, something that Sampson Lewkowicz said. This is on Instagram, ladies and gentlemen. He puts, let him know, and you could put this on record, that it looks like Rick Mirigian doesn't know how to manage his fighter. He could lose the fight with Fundora now because my friendship with Golden Boy is deeper than he thinks. Lewkowicz said, which, bruh, you didn't even want to have that fight for Sebastian Fundora in the first place. What he did with Golden Boy is shameful. And to say that to say that is shameful too, the only thing he's done is hurting his fighter because he doesn't know how to shut his mouth. Disrespectful comments towards Rick Mirigian. Of course, Sampson Lewkowicz taking and backing up Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy Promotions. He says Oscar De La Hoya is like family to him. So Sampson took it upon himself, another manager in the sport of boxing, to talk crap on another manager in the sport of boxing who got absolute praise from Vergil Ortiz. After this whole thing settled, ladies and gentlemen, y'all see this? This is Vergil Ortiz giving his manager props, his manager who was willing to take heat and take a lot of criticism, trying to fight for Vergil Ortiz and get him more money when the deal that they had in place for the Jerome Boots tennis fight was crumbs. Crumbs, absolute crumbs. And Vergil Ortiz's manager didn't like that. So what did he do? He fought. And what ended up happening? They reached a settlement. And things got a little bit better for Vergil Ortiz. So even though it was an ugly, nasty war, Rick Mirigian and Vergil Ortiz got a little bit more than what they were asking for in the initial offer, ladies and gentlemen. So he did his job. Promoter 559, Rick Mirigian, has a statement for Sampson Lewkowicz, and he says, hilarious. Hey, Sampson Boxing, he adds him. Let's shoot facts for facts here. You say all this disrespect about me, but leave out you dealt with me for years prior with zero issues. Always respectful, but when I had an issue with your deep friendship promoter, you tried to show your loyalty by attacking me to suck up. You know nothing about managing. Truly managing a fighter. Let's call it how it is. Your deep friendship you brag about is not conflicting, as you are not supposed to negotiate for your fighter. Do you find it easy to get the best deal while eating Christmas dinners and sipping margaritas with them? Let's make this simple. You're a wealthy man, far more than me by far. But let's put Sebastian Fundora contract on the table, and I'll put Vergil Ortiz's contract on the table, and I will have a few billionaire buddies I have cover the bet. Let's see who made more, makes more, and has better terms, and we can see who manages better or negotiates better or is actually honest with the fighter on what money is really out there or what is going on. Oh yes, your guy has bout, so he should be making more, right? Been making more, right? Better terms, right? I mean, you are a promoter and a manager, right? Your guy has never made more than Vergil, which is facts. My guy can lose a fight and will make double what your guy makes right now winning one. Put your money where your mouth is, and let's see who can't manage and who can. Fighters, beware of the ones that have deep friendships, family ties, go on vacations with the people they negotiate on your behalf with. For the record, I never said a negative word about Fundora. I actually am a fan of him and his sisters, super intelligent fighters, well-spoken and raised, very talented, and what the sport needs. So don't twist anything up here. But don't you think for a second, if they saw the deals I do compared to yours, that they wouldn't look at you a little confused, no matter what. Ladies and gentlemen, Rick Mirigian just went off, called them Sampson Lewkowicz out for his friendships and relationships that he has with these promoters that he sucks up to. PBC, Golden Boy Promotions. Sampson deserves this criticism from Rick Mirigian, ladies and gentlemen. And I'll tell you right now, one thing about Rick is he does try to get the biggest, best, most money for his fighters. And when they feel like they're getting played, he'll go to war to get that settled. Sampson Lewkowicz, brother, go do your research on this brother. This dude tried to steal money from his fighters, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all gotta open your eyes here. Sampson Lewkowicz is the Zuffa boxing of boxing. I think Zuffa boxing and the Zone set up a monopoly and actually both benefited from everything that's going down here. Now, don't get me wrong, the Zone not getting US views for some of the biggest, best fights, like Ryan Garcia versus Conor Ben, having people from the Zone have to subscribe to Paramount Plus now to be able to watch Ryan Garcia here in the U.S. market. Obviously, the Zone has lost the U.S. market when it comes to these super humongous fights. The fight is streaming globally in the USA and globally. But if you live in the UK or Ireland, you must watch this fight off the Zone. Ladies and gentlemen, Rick Mirigian did a fantastic job and has always tried to fight for his fighters. Trust me, I know. I've talked to Rick Mirigian. He's a pain in the ass. A lot of people say it all the time. He's a pain in the ass. But one thing that he does is he does fight. You seen Arnold Barboza Jr. in his most recent fight. Shout out Rick Mirigian. Because Rick is actually trying to get them the highest, best pay. Even Eddie Hearn finally came out and says that Rick Mirigian is a goddamn good manager because he's willing to fight, scratch the floor for his fighter to get what they deserve. Sampson Lewkowicz, when Zuffa Boxing first started, what was people saying about Zuffa Boxing? That it's going to be a cancer to the sport. I don't even look at it like that no more. The promoters that don't want to put on the best fights, the promoters that are keeping the fighters away from the unification huge fights, they are the cancer to the sport. Sampson Lewkowicz put cold ice water, shout out to Oshaki Foster, cold ice water on the fiery flame that Jerome Boots Ennis had going in the 154-pound division. And what does Sampson Lewkowicz do the second that Boots tried to unify with Sebastian Fundora? He pours that ice cold water right on top of the flame to stop the momentum in this goddamn division. The momentum that could possibly bring more eyeballs to the sport of boxing, more casual fans, and for the fans like us, the hardcore boxing fans. But Sampson Lewkowicz, he don't roll that way, ladies and gentlemen. The man got absolutely tore off by Rick Mirigian. I loved it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Who is a better manager? Don't get me wrong, Sampson Lewkowicz is a manager for the fighters. This ain't a manager for the fans. He'll do whatever it takes to keep his fighters safe. And even if it means messing up your own broadcasting network by not putting on the biggest, best fights on your guys' broadcasting network. Messing up the respect that fans like us have for the boxers that you have. When we consistently see them duck, and duck, we got to end up pointing the finger at that manager. That manager that ain't coming back saying, oh, Fundora doesn't want to fight. No, it's you who don't want to fight these guys, ladies and gentlemen. And Fundora's just sitting back for the ride, letting you do your thing. Well, I'm glad he's over at the Zone now. I hope things change. Rick Mirigian went absolutely off on this man. Let me know what you guys think. What a great morning for Saturday, bro. I'm out.